Sponsored by the Dunleary Rathdown Local Enterprise Office. You're listening to Business Eye with Joe Dalton and Simon Haig.
Welcome to another week here at Dublin South FM, and you're listening to myself, Joe Dalton, at Business Eye. It seems that things are starting to get back to normal again. Well, hopefully. I'm here in Dundrum Shopping Centre. There's a peak view of some shops opening up and others preparing to opening up. I can't wait for the playgrounds to be fully open. I know that the government have said the playgrounds will be open, but unfortunately some have not yet. As I say, we're all in this together, but we are in different boats. And this week I'm going to speak to a selection of business owners to find out what they're doing to prepare for opening, how they've been getting on with everything over the last couple of months and how they see the future. So sit back, grab your coffee and let's get this show on the road.
You're listening to Business Eye, sponsored by your local enterprise office in Dunleary Rathdown. Together, we're making it happen.
Yes, folks, and as I was saying there, companies are opening up, things are changing and people are looking forward to spending a bit of money again. And my next guest is Tara Buckley. Tara is the general manager or general director, I should say, of RG Data, and she looks after and is speaking to people within the retail industry, and they've come together with, you know, the pubs and the restaurants. Tara, are you there?
I am. I'm here listening to you, Joe.
Listening to me, yes. Everyone listens to Joe. I don't even like saying that, talk to Joe or listen to Joe. It reminds me of another broadcaster out there. But Tara, look, we know that there's a lot of companies out there who are in the service industry and they're starting to open up and they do have many concerns. And I was speaking to a previous guest there a while back who works within the retail industry, and they said that, you know, the whole industry knew there was going to be changes coming down the road, and COVID-19 speeded a lot of things up for how businesses do business. But now we're seeing that businesses are saying, if I don't open up soon, I'm bust, I'm gone, I've given up the fight. Can you elaborate on that for us, please?
Yeah, to be honest with you, Joe, my members are retail grocers, so as it happens, they were deemed to be essential shops. So when the government announced the lockdown, the shops that I represent, which would be supermarkets, convenience stores and local shops all around Ireland, family-owned businesses in general.
Yeah.
And our members stayed open, and they certainly had to quickly and very, overnight had to adapt their businesses to social distancing, making the shops safe for customers, making them safe for staff. So a huge amount of work was done very quickly. And I suppose you're right. You know, some of the other aspects that had to be addressed were how they got the food and groceries to their cocooning customers and vulnerable customers. And they had to look at the way they ran the store, how they, a lot of my members changed their opening hours so they went 24/7 so they could stock shelves at night when there were no customers in the shop. They had to work the rosters in the store so that they could make sure that they would have two distinct groups of staff working so that they didn't overlap or interact, so that they would always have staff to cover the store just in case there was a case of COVID in the store. They also had to come up with all of the sort of safe social distancing measures to ensure that they provided a safe environment for their customers. So we would have looked at hand sanitizing would have been brought in, stations at the doors, signage, perspex screens, perspex masks for staff.
But the cost elements of this must have been colossal. You know, you're talking about that the small business owners of Ireland who are running small retail shops, they're not making millions. You know, they're just making enough to pay their wage and get through month to month on this. So these costs must have caused a lot of these people to, have sleepless nights.
I can tell you it was an extremely stressful time for the owners. And it depended too on the size of store and the sort of store. So to be honest, the supermarket owners, they had a huge amount of stress and a huge amount of cost to adapt the stores, but people were coming every week and doing their shopping, or they were getting click and collect, or they were organising delivery through local community groups, the GAA, the Gardaí, Tidy Towns, whatever. So their business, their business, in some cases it grew, but in most cases their customers were coming and buying their food. For some of our members who were in urban areas or beside big universities or schools, their business absolutely fell through the floor. But they stayed open because they saw themselves as an essential community service.
They are.
And maybe a busy forecourt that would have been selling lots of fuel and lots of food to go, and they had to close down their deli counters, they closed down their cafe areas, they were selling very little fuel, but they stayed open because they were selling some bread and milk and grocery essentials to customers who could walk from, the local area. But for them, their businesses really, they were running at a loss, but they stayed open. So it has been a mixed experience across the food and essential retail sector. And I can see that this is going to be a challenge for the other types of stores that are starting to open up now and have started opening up since last Monday, because you are restricted in the numbers of customers you could have in the store at any one time. And I suppose it's a bit unknown as to how people will start. Will they go back to their previous shopping habits, or will their shopping habits have changed? And that is a big concern for people in the retail sector.
Look, I live in rural Ireland, and we have our local shop and our local supermarket, and these were open all the time. And thank God for Brexit, because all the suppliers, all the logistic companies were filling their warehouses with stock for when Brexit kicked in. And then when COVID-19 kicked in, we didn't have a distribution problem. We didn't have a problem with it. And it was really great to see that, living in rural Ireland, that I was never short of anything when we went down to the shop. So, and we talk about the health workers, and we talk about the great job they were doing. But, the shopkeepers and the people that worked in the stores, they probably were meeting more people on a day-to-day basis than our health workers were, To
be honest with you, I take my hat off to them, Joe, because it was an extremely stressful time, and the staff and the teams that work in these stores came together with the owners, and they really did turn the businesses around and deliver a fantastic service.
They were smiling and laughing. Yeah,
absolutely. And the food supply chain, the wholesalers, the logistical people, the delivery people, the people who make sure the stuff gets on the shelves. I mean, we had a bit of panic buying at the start and a bit of disruption in the way people shopped. But once that got sorted out, and it sorted out very quickly. I mean, a lot of messaging went out to people to please stick to your normal patterns. You're not going to be, there won't be empty shelves if you stick to your normal patterns. We can keep the food supply chain going. And once people calmed down, we found that it was a fantastic service, really, at a time when, and the communities all pulled together, which is also fantastic.
One of our presenters here, Patrick Daly, he is a logistics consultant, and he deals a lot with a lot of the food companies. And we had him on this show, and he was saying, look, there's plenty of food there. It's, this panic buying shouldn't be. And on his advice, we never panic buy at home, and the shops were full all the time, and we got what we needed to do, and it was great to see this. But what my concerns are now is we've all been cocooned or locked away, and people now want to get out, and people want to get into the store. So more and more people are, as the government and the country reopens step by step, is there going to be a frustration about people not being able to get the products or the service they want in retail?
No, I like this. Absolutely, I don't see that problem at all. I think the issue now for all of us is getting used to the way we're going to have to shop and the way we're going to have to look out for each other, be aware of all of the sort of things we need to do to make the environment and the shopping environment safe for the people working in the stores and for the customers coming into the stores. So I suppose we've probably got used to it. For those of us who've been able to go and do our weekly shop or our shopping locally, So now you will have the same type of regime when you go to a clothes shop or any other type of shop. And I suppose a little bit of patience is required. You will probably have to queue because there'll be limits on the numbers allowed in the shop at any one time. Different types of retail have had to look at the way they deliver the customer experience and the customer service. So that's going to be something that we'll have to get used to. But I suppose if you can always remember that this is being done so that the business can get back up and running, retain the jobs, retain that business in the local community, which is so important to the vibrancy of the local community. And also it's there to provide a service to you as the customer and trying to do that to the best of its ability. So a little bit of patience, a little bit of, being aware of the sort of rules and regulations around safe distancing and, coughing etiquette and, staying at home if you have symptoms. All of those things, if we can all comply with those, I think this is the way we're going to have to get on with things going forward, because it's so important for us to get our communities and our economies back up and running.
One of the things I noticed through COVID-19 and when we were in lockdown, it was the amount of Irish companies that didn't have facilities that you could buy online. And a lot of people, we know that some courier companies were hiring 100, 200 extra staff just to keep up with the demand of people ordering at home. But I was shocked because all those people who were going to buy, if it wasn't here, they were buying it abroad. And knowing that someone in Ireland could provide it. And I got sort of frustrated and I was disappointed that we have so many, buy Irish, buy from local companies, but we couldn't get to them even online. And I think that's something that a lot of retail and a lot of companies will have to look at in the future.
Absolutely. And I suppose in one aspect where it is welcome, the government did introduce a scheme to help smaller retailers and medium-sized retailers to get themselves online. So there now are vouchers for retailers that employ less than 10 people. There are vouchers available up to €5,000 to get themselves up and running online. And for bigger retailers, there's also an online retail scheme for those who employ between 10 and 250 people. So there are opportunities out there, and I think, we've been seeing contacts from various different firms offering, online platforms to local retail, and we're trying to share that information with our members. For the grocery sector and the sort of convenience sector that we represent, we see our members being clicks and bricks shops into the future. I don't think their business, for an awful lot of people, the experience of going to the supermarket or the store, the theatre of selling fresh food, people who are cooks, people who like recipes and things like that, like to go and they might decide on the day and they might want to go and get what they want.
Or a break from the kids.
Well, and also, going to get your shopping. I think this is something that I've certainly heard when I've heard some of the over 70s who were cocooning for the vast majority of the lockdown, how much they missed and, going out, that interaction, that social interaction with their local shopkeeper, with their local community, when they're out pottering about getting their what they need for their dinner tonight or whatever. And that is an important social interaction for lots of people living in communities. So we see our members having to be able to do both, Joe, to be able to organise click and collect, organise deliveries to customers who can't make it there, but also still provide a great in-store shopping experience.
We have to take our hat off again to all the retailers around the country and all the small villages and all the small towns and all the truck drivers that deliver the food and the people that pack them. They stayed open and they 100% delivered, and I'd never seen any stores short of food ever.
No, it was a fantastic effort by the trade, and as you say too, it probably helped that we had been preparing for Brexit, and so that had meant that we had looked at a lot of areas and aspects of the business and the food supply chain.
And ill wind that blows.
And unfortunately, Brexit is still sitting there on the horizon.
Yes,
to
we
come
will
at
be
us
doing it.
very
We will be
quickly.
doing another show on that, especially what's coming up now and what's going to be coming up over the next couple of weeks. We'll be tapping into that on it. Tara, can I ask you just a question before we let you go? What did you learn, or what did you acknowledge over this period of time?
Well, I suppose I wasn't surprised by the way local independent family-owned shops stood up to the mark and, delivered during this time. But I suppose one area that really I was very happy to see was the way communities came together. And we've always said that local family-owned shops are the hub of a community. And during this last 12-week period, they really proved that. And some of the stories coming back to us about the joining up together with local community groups, what a fantastic community spirit was created. And one member said to me that some of the older customers, although a lot of them want to come back and start shopping because they enjoy going shopping, they also don't want to miss out on that link they've made, maybe with somebody from the under 14s GAA team who is coming with their mum or dad, delivering the groceries, but also, talking to them, having a chat, fixing things around, the squeaky garden gate or whatever. So there was these lovely relationships developed all around the country, and maybe communities got more in touch with the 2K that they live in and found the local services and shops that were within that 2K and realised that it's very important for all of us and being sustainable into the future that we develop our communities and that we support each other in our communities.
Yeah. That's it's compassion and community. Compassion and community on it.
Absolutely.
Tara Buckley, Director General of RG Data. Thank you for coming on to Business Eye. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joe.
You're listening to Business Eye, sponsored by your local enterprise office in Dunleary Rathdown. Together, we're making it happen.
Yes, folks, and my next guest is someone who I am dying to speak to. We all love that, smell of fuel, the petrol. We like racing. We've been locked down, completely locked in our houses. And it's time to express ourselves and get out there, And with a lot of companies opening up, there's a lot of team building that will be needed to be provided in the coming weeks and months. And there has to be a safe element as well. And what better way to do that, in my opinion, would be for go-karting. And that's why I have Kyle Kennedy. He's the Managing Director of Kylemore Karting on the line. Kyle, how are you?
Joe, how are you? Hanging in there. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm delighted. Look, if we're talking about social distancing and you're talking about wearing masks and you're talking about all this stuff, what a better way for a company to, to cocoon yourself in that go-kart. You're wearing that helmet. You're flying around the track. Laughter and joy is what I think people really need at this moment in life when they're coming back into their workplace. And when I've gone go-karting, we've had, we're competitive and there's been a lot of crack as well.
You said it greatly there, Joe. I think, in allusion to social distancing, if me and you were on the track, I think we'd be keeping that 2 meters at all times.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I'd be trying to slip past you in 1.5 meters or, knock you a little. But that's on a different day when I get on a track with you and I get the good cart, not the dodgy cart. That's the one. You can have the one with the 3 wheels.
The excuses are coming out already.
But look, you tell us, you're opening up next week.
Opening up Monday, June 15th. Yeah, we're excited to get going and. We're opening up. We think we can do it safely, and we can do all the procedures have been tried and tested, and there's a lot to say for the mental health aspect of our product and the live aspect of it, and being able to give people a real live fun racing experience, as you said. And we have lots of COVID procedures we can see on our website at kylemorekarting.ie and how we're going to make new ways, how we're going to make it safe for all customers. And for us as a business, health and safety has been a fundamental priority since 1992.
Yeah,
so,
health and safety has
it's going
always
to be
been
no different in our opinion.
It's health and safety has always been so important in yourselves. It's like the farming community, and speaking to them, they said, look, we've been dealing with viruses all the time. Foot and mouth wiped us out, and we had to deal with that virus and build things up again. So the farming, the rural community of Ireland are used to it. Like yourselves, health and safety has to be a major issue with yourselves. You mentioned there just before we came here, and we're 13 weeks into this lockdown. Then everything came. That's nearly, as you said, a quarter of a year. What have you learned yourself, Kyle, as the business owner over the last 13 weeks?
Yeah, a good question. Well, I think one thing that we hear a lot is the pace and the rapid pace of change, and I think that has been kind of epitomised over the last few months. Obviously, as a business owner, we had to close down. We've been closed since March 16th. Obviously, in the interest of public health for staff, customers, like everybody else. But it's also given us a chance to pause and reflect and look at our business. And, I think positivity is key in life and in business. And, I see this as an opportunity to come back even better. We've got to learn, people working from home and doing, digital, accelerating that trend of changing to digital and, trying to motivate staff and staff training virtually. Like, these are all good things. I think it gives us another chance. You saw straight away when, things closed down, people were firing staff straight away. And I think, that's, a team is arguably the most important part of every business. And, we retained all our staff and we've trained them up. We're going through 4 phases of training and, everybody here is kind of ready to go. And, taking into account all the guidelines that have been published, from the NSAI and all the government guidelines, we are ready to go, and we've been planning, to tell you the truth, been planning since early April.
Here it is, Kyle, right? We understand the health and safety, and, we know those procedures are put in, and we know that these are going to be followed through. But from a sales and marketing point of view, and from a business point of view, has it allowed you to reflect on what you've been doing and how you can be even better now and see the opportunities moving forward? Most
definitely. I think, we're chatting about, I think, art, the sales and marketing is about, meeting, customers' pain points. It's given me a chance to reflect on our different market segments, see which is strong, see, what we can do better, where we can do better, how we can refine our messaging. And, it's going to be a battle when we open back up, but it's given us a chance, as I say, across the team, reflect what our strengths and weaknesses are and look at our market base and, plan to, refresh messaging to all of these segments, over the next couple of months as we reopen. And, from a business, whether that's, we're launching new products like a Racers Club, we've built a new customer lounge on track 2 and 3. So, we're just constantly making improvements for the benefit of the good and for the benefit of the public and for our customers. And, we're now Dublin's only karting centre. So, we're hoping to provide a first-class experience like we always do for our customers.
One of the things I've always noticed, people will go into, a car centre like yourselves, and they'll go in a little nervous, walking through that door. They're a little nervous, what's going on here? Walking out of it, smiling and full of confidence.
The adrenaline pumping.
Yeah, yeah. It's, tell me, you're opening up. How's bookings?
Booking's good. Bookings are great, yeah. So we only announced we're opening back up about 10 days ago. And, as you mentioned, you can do all the health and safety in the world. You can say you're the best at everything, but ultimately it comes down to the customers and their confidence in you as a business and in our procedures. And I'm delighted to say we've got multiple bookings every day next week from Monday. So that's obviously a great indication from our customers. And, we think, maybe the first week or two, might not be as busy as it would be for the normal 2 weeks in June. But I think, that's fine with our limited capacity and our procedures and stuff. We need to do that. But I think, I'd be aiming to be getting back up to, full steam not in the not too distant future.
Brilliant. Yes, as someone said to me, they were sick of walking around their same park all the time over the last, umpteen weeks. They'd be delighted to get in and blow off a bit of steam up with yourselves. I'm going to put you on the spot. Are you going to give our listeners to the station here maybe a free pass, a pass for four or something?
Yeah, we can do a family pass for four. I'd be delighted to do that.
Yeah, we'll get the marketing team onto you there, and we'll push that out then as well.
Happy to help out.
Look, listen, if someone wants to jump in, if someone wants to, get it on and get those wheels and let off a bit of steam and build a confidence, especially in the corporate world with a small company who have been all working at home, who have, they've been isolated doing Zoom calls. Where can they, get in touch? How many people can you cater for? Could you cater for, say, a company of 10 people, a company of 20 people if need be? And where can they contact you?
Great point. So, as you mentioned, corporate will be a huge part of our business. And although we might not be doing our standard 20 to 30 size race events, we will be doing corporate wellness programs on our vouchers for staff. And then because of the size of our facility, we can use multiple entrances. We've got 3 tracks, so we can easily cater for groups. At the moment, we're saying max group of 12, because we've got different brief rooms and different tracks. So, we can't guarantee more than 6 in one group. But, we can cater for people up to 12, and then we'd be hoping to, as kind of guidelines change and goalposts change, to be able to kind of open that up a little bit, when it's safe to do so. And all that information is on our website at www.coilmorekarting.ie. You can drop us a mail, you can book online, or else you can call us on 01626 1444.
Kyle, it's a pleasure having you on. It's always great to hear a bit of positivity here at Positive Radio here at Business Eye. As someone once said, it's good to hear it.
Definitely, it's been a pleasure, Joe. Thanks so much for having me.
And look, we will see you on the track.
Dead right. Thanks, Joe. Listen, all the best. Thanks, everybody.
You're listening to Business Eye, sponsored by your local enterprise office in Dunleary Rathdown. Together, we're making it happen.
Yes, folks, and my next guest, as you know, I've been speaking to a few people here at Business Eye just about what's going on over the last 13 weeks and how they're preparing for the reopening, because there's a lot of businesses out there who are preparing to open. As I said, there's other people who have been working or have seen the opportunities in this pandemic to help us, the consumer, keep on motoring. And one of the things which is very important to myself and to all you out there is your mobile phone and connection and communication. Because what would we have done in lockdown if our phone stopped working, or our internet went down? And that's why I've brought on Alan Eyre. Alan is the Sales and Managing Director of Mint Plus, Phonex, and I believe a couple of other companies as well. But I'm going to get Alan to tell me a little bit about what they're doing and see if I missed anything. Alan, are you there?
I'm here. Yep. Thanks for having me.
Delighted to have you. Delighted. I've been hearing wonderful stories from your staff telling me how entrepreneurial you are and, thinking out of the box and everything as well. So tell me, how did the last 13 weeks affect yourselves and your team within your organisation? Let's start there.
Well, thanks. Just to give some context, Phonua, which is the company that I work for, and we have 2 brands underneath Phonua, Mint Plus and Phone Fix Express. Phonua is Ireland's largest mobile phone distribution company, and we have large contracts of distributing phones for people like Vodafone, Carphone Warehouse, Tesco Mobile. So in normal terms, we're a wholesale distribution company driving our distribution of mobile phones into those retail channels for those customers. So obviously our biggest challenge was that during the lockdown, all of those retail stores were closed, and we had to quickly adapt what we were doing to try and pick up phones going through other channels, particularly the online channels. So that was a challenge, obviously, to convert, not just for us to convert our distribution centre to be able to handle end user direct delivery types of logistics rather than big drop into retail logistics, but also set up quickly some services that we could support the end user out of our own business. So a couple of key things came out of that really was that we have our sister company Phone Fix, and they are Ireland's only fully accredited repair centre. So the majority of mobile phones that are repaired under warranty and out of warranty in Ireland go through that centre, but they usually go through those retail channels. So we quickly developed an online service, the direct-to-consumer service. So very quickly we created a website, and very quickly we created a service behind that website that essentially allowed a consumer to drop onto the site, book a collection on that site, and we would go out within, I think, 24 hours within Dublin and 48 hours nationwide, collect the phone, bring it back to the service centre and have it repaired, and back out within 24 hours. So essentially in Dublin, a 48-hour pick-up, repair and drop service, under warranty and out of warranty phones. So obviously you can appreciate that took a bit of pulling together, but it was pulled together, and we saw quite some volume coming through that.
But I think it's also speed of delivery. When we get these ideas, if we believe that they're the right thing, we have to. One of the things is speed of delivery to market. Thinking about it and then running it next year mightn't have the same impact. So for yourselves, it was okay. We need to do this. We need to really change things fairly quickly as the curve has changed.
Yes, exactly.
What was the planning? Was it? Did you sort of did this take you logistically? Did this take you a week or a month to kind of nail this down to get it going?
Well, to be honest, probably less than that, because we do have a warehouse with a fully integrated logistics service in there, and we deliver for multiple customers to multiple channels. So we've always had a direct delivery solution in place. The biggest thing was to switch on a website and just get that functionality up quickly. And we, memory serves me right, we had a functioning website up and running within a couple of weeks, which for a larger organisation that's not as nimble and doesn't have as much in-house technical support, probably would have been much more difficult. Now, it's the old adage of having a slick-facing system to the consumer where they can see a very easy journey for those, a few clicks, and they've booked a repair. But behind the scenes, obviously, we had to put a lot of manual processes in place to begin with just to get this thing moving quickly. So the link from the consumer registering a repair and our logistics centre shipping it. The bit in the middle was probably the bit where we were frantically working very manually behind the scenes, and over the last few weeks have been starting to sort of sew that together a bit more in an integrated way. But we felt it was necessary, obviously, to try and support the market and bring that service where a lot of people wouldn't have had any options.
Yeah.
And the key to all of this is that we are a fully OEM accredited repair centre. So not only are we're throwing up a very quick service, but still the quality of service, those accreditations would give consumers a high degree of comfort that they're still getting the same level of technical service that they would
that's the thing, Alan, that you've just nailed something there, because the biggest thing is we talk about customer service, but the biggest evolving process at the moment is customer experience. And what I've noticed over this period of time, a lot of organisations out there, that have failed rapidly in the customer experience. And it's like I speak to someone and they go, we hear it all the time, Vodafone is this, or, Air is such and such. And all these large organisations that, have the teams. Like for example, like Air, I've been on hold to Air 10 times for probably 35, 40 minutes. And then when I get someone, it hangs up. Or I've been on to, Virgin and can't get anyone on Virgin. So all these communication, and it's funny, communication companies are failing their customer experience more so than the small retailer, which is, it's a bit shocking.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. The bigger you get, almost the more difficult it seems to be to
spinning lots of plates, plates.
And for us, it was important. One of our biggest USPs we wanted to make sure that the consumer understood. One was that, this is an accredited service. with a company that has vast experience in the market over 20 years, but is a local company, and what in terms of turnover, we're a large company. In terms of staff, we're a 200 headcount company. So we're still pretty nimble in terms of being able to switch things on. And if it's just about putting bodies behind phones or on emails, then we could do that and make sure that we at least supported our service in a local way, but maintain a level of customer service, which was equally important, because I think for small businesses, and particularly if we think of ourselves a small business when we're trying to drive something like Mint Plus or Phone Fix, you can die quite quickly with a lot of negative feedback that comes through on social media or over web channels, whatever it is these days, right? You can die very quickly if you're not careful. So gone are the days where you could control the noise to a degree. You just can't control the noise today. You will live and die basically by your service levels. There's always obviously the odd chance you get with a customer that is particularly at a bad experience. But when you've got that continually being shown up as a pattern, then obviously.
But it's not even the bad experience. It's like anyone that has a concern. If you talk to them and ask them these questions about how can I help, how can I best serve you, what do we need to do to resolve this, that person can become your best and biggest ally in the future.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that feedback's paramount as well.
Yeah.
Because
but it's the frustration of people trying to get in touch with someone to talk to is where it is. Look, one of the things that with myself, we all have, the world has changed, and everyone now is fighting about to get on space on your mobile phone, and this is what I have a mobile phone. I've had it over 24 months. I changed the contract for the SIM card, and it was dying. So what I did, I went and invested in a new screen, and I invested in an upgrade battery on my phone. Okay. Yeah. And when I got the new battery and the new screen, my phone is like brand new again. Are people looking now to invest not in new phones but pre-owned phones that have been updated with software or reconditioned or whatever it may be?
Yeah. And that's actually the case, and that's where our second sort of consumer brand, if you like, has come out of, and that's in this recycled, refurbished, and putting back onto the marketplace essentially a premium pre-owned phone. So doing exactly what you've mentioned there. And Mint Plus is mintplus.ie is the website that we've put together to service consumers directly with that type of product. So again, and because we have got a long history and experience in the marketplace in terms of dealing with multinational telco type companies, we have access to being able to pull in a lot of stock from those buyback, trade-in, 14-day return type of stock. Because we've got Phone Fix there that are technically able to upgrade, test, check, refurb, put those batteries in, put new screens on phones, and then put it through a quality control that has been approved through a number of manufacturers, because that's how they've got accredited. We felt that we had a couple of USPs there that would allow us to, take the customer through a very good journey here, rather than some of the scary things you hear about second-hand phones, not sure who you're dealing with, not sure what's in under the hood of these things, and not sure how much support and warranty you're going to get. Yeah, we wanted to take all that worry away from a consumer and give them almost a confidence that they can buy a second-hand phone. It is going to meet a quality standard that we put out in the marketplace. We're going to wrap it around a brand to say we're quite happy to shout about the quality of this brand, and we're going to give you a warranty on the back of that because we have so much confidence that this phone is going to work, and you're going to get the best use out of the phone. And on top of that, on top of all of that, to your point, the point you made earlier, you can take this phone. It doesn't affect the contract that you have with your network. If you've got a SIM-only contract, you just good to go. You can put your SIM in and away you go. And you're picking up essentially what is a high-tech phone from big brands at a fraction of the price that you would if you paid for a new one. And if that's not enough motivation to do it, you're also now contributing to the environment in a positive way.
Yeah.
Because we're taking waste out of the environment here. You know, we're giving a second and a third life to a mobile phone that ultimately would have found its way into that electronic waste number that we all see being so scary. So there's a lot of positives around that, and there's also the point that, you know, if you are a young person or if you struggled on a budget to try and, you know, get the latest phones, this is a lead into allowing you to get your hands on an Apple or a Samsung phone at a reasonable price with some confidence that you've got some support behind it in service.
The technology out there is brilliant. You know, it's evolving all the time. Where do you see the whole industry going, Alan?
Well, there's a couple of things we see happening this year. Certainly, in Mint, we're trying to invest more and more. We are pushing that green side of things. There's huge investments coming down. I think from a number of companies. We obviously, as I said, work closely with Vodafone. They've got a massive green agenda, and we've been working in the background over the last 12 months with a number of key accessory vendors, in particular, who are now producing not just something tagged as a green accessory, but actually a fully biodegradable range of accessories. So biodegradable into landfill over 2 years, biodegradable in the ocean over 2 years, and compostable in your compostable bins or your compost within 7 months. And in the past, you know, in the recent past, those kind of eco-friendly products have come at a cost to the consumer because they've usually been more expensive, or they haven't necessarily been fashionable. Whereas now, over the next 6 months, we're going to see a proper range of things where customers and consumers won't have to compromise to be green. You know, and not only do they won't have to compromise on price, on quality, or on fashion, but they'll also be able to fully appreciate that this thing they're getting is actually what it should be, which is compostable or biodegradable, rather than just being green friendly, if you know what I mean. So we're fully investing in that. We're turning Mint Plus completely green. We're going into full recycled green packaging. We're removing more and more accessories out of the box because we all know how many chargers and cables people have lying around. So we're given the option to say, let's get the cost down, let's keep it green, and if you do need accessories, you'll be able to purchase accessories separately if you need them. And again, we're trying to make as many of those accessories environmentally friendly as possible. So I see that happening with us. I see that happening over the next 12 months in terms of the way the networks will start going, and hopefully this message is going to start coming where in 2 years we're not even talking about a green accessory or not. It'll just be the standard that everything should be biodegradable, you know, going forward.
Yeah, something just springed up there with me. Chargers. I'm with so many people in the house and so many. It's amazing, you know, how many tablets. Like if I did a head count between phones, tablets, and computers are all connected to Wi-Fi. Like I think we e-cables, they just break or stop working. It's one of my banes of my life is phone charger cables. And I know they're all trying to become uniform, and Apple continue to resist that uniformity. Where I think Apple is better than the other one because the other one has a little gap in it that can bend. It gets debris in there. Yeah, so I think Apple's one is a little bit is more consumer friendly for plugging in and out. The other one, you know, you can. So that's my and again, you know, that I think things will change there in terms of even content of new phones, content in boxes of new phones, where manufacturers and networks will get together and say, can we start stripping some of this out because people don't need to continue to buy another cable or another charger head here. Yeah. So that'd be good for well, that's for even it with phones, putting them on. There are devices now you can just place your phone on and they charge it. Yeah, on the wireless charger. Yeah, and therefore, you know, they're universal. As long as your phone is compatible, it doesn't matter if it's a Samsung, Huawei. Yeah, and that's going to get away with cables and plugs and everything as well, which is great. Yeah, look, before I ask you all the different websites and all the different stuff, I need to ask. I've asked my guests this that have been on the show today, and I'll ask you this as well. From a personal level, what have you learned yourself over the last 13 weeks? From a personal level, I've probably learned that
family time is golden. Work-life balance is something that I probably haven't looked at in the past too heavily. There's probably a balance with me in terms of really understanding that I spend 2 hours a day in the car going backwards and forwards to an office, which just seems could be a complete waste of time. And that working from home for a number of people can work under the right conditions. So I think that's going to change massively. We do a lot of work with business and enterprise, and we've seen a fundamental shift in terms of how they're going to approach, obviously, working from home. Having said all of that, you do miss the camaraderie of being in the office and working with people, and you do miss that switch between a workspace and an office space, and then makes it more difficult to switch off potentially as well. So it's a bit of a trade-off of gaining time back from, I suppose, the negative time in a car, making sure you beat the traffic and all that, but possibly taking a bit more time back from yourself in terms of being able to just have that switch off. You've left the office, but when you're at home, you don't know you've left the office.
Yeah. It's learning. I think it's really for me, and I've said this umpteen times. It's reflection, it's compassion, it's community, and gratitude are the four things that really came up for myself over those weeks.
Yeah, and I think as I said to you, I've got a 8-week-old baby in the house, so that time has been precious, which I wouldn't have had if this lockdown hadn't been in place as well. So there's those small things like that you really appreciate. And
you won't be allowed to leave now. You won't be allowed to leave.
Yeah.
Alan, where can people, give us some web addresses there if people want to connect with yourselves or find out more about the services that you provide?
So if anybody is looking out for premium pre-owned phones, they go to mintplus.ie, and we've got a full range of phones there, not just phones, accessories, smart office, smart home devices. They're all new, from all the major OEMs. So give us a look out there, because there's a wide range to shop there. And again, if anybody is still a little bit hesitant about getting into retail stores to get phones repaired, drop onto phonefix.com, and we have a slick system there that can have a phone repaired and back in your hands within 48 hours, zero touch. And I'd advise anybody anyway out there that they've got a faulty phone, go onto phonefix.com and just check that they're not eligible for a free repair under warranty terms. And our quick check on phonefix.com will confirm to you whether you're eligible for a free repair anyway.
Brilliant. Alan, and is there, if someone wants to get in touch with a customer service as well, is there somewhere on LinkedIn? Or I know that I spoke to two of the guys there, Derek and Ruth, two really switched on guys, very, good to have on your team. I was impressed by the service that they had and the attitude they had when I was speaking to them as well.
Yeah. Well, we've got a direct contact us on any of those two websites, direct into our customer care there. So,
Alan,
about anything, they can click on contact us, and it'll be straight through to Mark and his team in our customer care department.
Alan, thanks for coming on to Business Eye.
No, pleasure. Thanks very much for having me.
Thank you. And that's it, folks. 3 interesting guests who are looking forward to the country reopening, who have either adjusted the way things are moving or helping people develop new strategies, new systems as we move forward into 2020. I would like to thank our sponsors as well, the Dún Laoghaire Rathdown Local Enterprise Office, making it happen. If you do hashtag making it happen or go onto their website, they have lots of vouchers which can help businesses move forward online. So they are keeping in contact with their customers. Till next week, I wish you a wonderful weekend. Have a super